let's change the oil in this helicopter. All right, the first thing we need is gloves and eye protection. And a lot of people ask, can pilots change the oil? Absolutely. The federal aviation regulations state that pilots can change the oil and do what is called preventative maintenance. So an oil change is preventative maintenance. So we, as pilots, are totally allowed to do it. Let's get into it. All right, so the first thing I do is I gather all the stuff we need. So I've got oil, an oil filter, and all my screwdrivers, and that's about it. That's all we need. And honestly, it's just as simple as changing the oil in your car. The first thing I recommend is fly it before and get it warm. That way the oil can drain out a lot easier. If it's cold, it's hardly gonna drain and gonna be a much longer, more difficult process. So this helicopter just flew for about an hour, so the oil temperature is really warm. So we'll take it apart and then we'll do it. All right, so I'm actually gonna take off that panel there so that I can show you what I'm doing, but you can do everything just through this little access port. And we need these special star bolts or star screwdrivers so that we can remove the panels, so I'm gonna do that now. So I've got a cup so I can put all the screws from the access panel into it just so I don't lose it. Floor where I'm not going to hit it, and we have access to the engine. So you can see that this is a 6-cylinder engine. We've got cylinder 1 here, cylinder here 3, and cylinder 5, and then you have cylinder 2, 4, and 6 on the other side. And this is our exhaust manifold, so all the exhaust fumes go out that into the exhaust pipe. And here's a view inside the engine. So what I'll do is I've got my just generic 5-gallon bucket here, and I will slide that underneath where that tube is coming down from that engine. And you can see right there where that red little thing is. And here's the tube, and here's my 5-gallon bucket. And all you have to do is push up on that little red thing and twist it, and your oil will start to drain. So I'm gonna try to do this with one hand, but you twist the red to the left and then push up. So I twist and push up. So I had to let the camera down, but I twisted the red thing to the left and pushed up, and it locked in. And now we can see that our oil is draining very well. And like I said, it's really important that it's warm so that it drains. So we're just gonna sit here and let this drain, and then I'll come back to you when it's all out. All right, now that it's done draining, I'm gonna climb under there, and then I'm gonna twist that red little latch until it pops out and locks, and I'll make sure that no more oil is draining out of it, and then that it's closed. I've had lots of problems where I forgot to close it. I started adding oil and the oil drained out, so I'll make sure that it's closed. All right, so we're gonna be working right in this area in here. And actually that yellow dipstick, it's just like your car dipstick. We can unscrew it and check the oil. Clip, what happened is I was cranking down on it, and then I had my boss come over and have him try to crank down on it, and we could feel it starting to strip. So just because it's not our expertise and we're not aircraft mechanics, we actually called over our mechanic, and with the right tool, he had a really long breaker bar, he was able to just quickly pop it out and get it off. So if you ever get into a point, especially on aircraft, where something is not going right and you don't want to break it, call over someone with more expertise, and that's a way to get yourself out of that situation. So let's keep going. So now that the seal is broken, I can just reach up there and start to twist it off. And once it's loose, I can just reach up there with my hand and slowly twist it off. Doesn't have a left and a right engine, so I'll just put an X through that just because it's a helicopter and we're single engine. So I'll fill out that information, and then on the back right here I'll write the next time it's due. So it's due for a new oil change 50 hours from now, so I will write that 50 hour from now time period on here. So the next one is due at 3846.3, so due 3846.3, and I will actually write that again on the other side so it can be read. 3846.3 is the next time it's due. The next thing I'll do with the filter is I'll crack open a new can of oil, and I will dip my finger in it and get it covered in oil, and then I will go on the outer O-ring with clean, fresh oil and make sure that that is fully lubricated so it'll get a good seal on that. And then with that, we're ready to put it on. So I will take my oil filter and then I will just thread it on there. And once it's on, I will actually take a rag and clean it off. So I've got a paper towel here and we are going to just wipe it off. I'm gonna keep twisting and get it pretty much as tight as I can get it. And that is as tight as I can get it, and we're gonna leave it there. There's no chance it's gonna come off, so that is on there good. The next thing that I'll do is on the nut, I will actually draw an up arrow so that we can see if it has shifted at all. So I'll zoom in here and I'm gonna draw an up arrow on there. And not the greatest, but you get the point. If we come out during pre-flight and it has shifted and it's not in the up orientation, we know that it has come loose. Right, so I lost the audio for these upcoming few clips, but what I'm doing here is I'm just adding the oil. This engine requires 7 to 9 quarts, so we just add 8 as an even number, and I spilled a little bit there, but that's okay, I'll clean it up. If you're wondering what type of oil we use Aeroshell W15 W50, specifically designed for piston engines. Alright, so in this next clip, I am adding AvBlend, and it's company policy to use this every time we change the oil. And just reading from the website here, AvBlend soaks into the metal parts of your engine. It disperses carbon buildups to help provide dry start lubrication. This prevents against damage and premature internal wear on parts. It restores peak combustion, lowers the operating temperature, and prevents valves from sticking, and it prevents rust. So it's like a pretty strong chemical, so be careful when you use it, and I just throw that in. And then what I'll do is I'll re-add the dipstick and check the oil quantity. Make sure it sits right where I want it, so I'll put that in. And it'll be very difficult to see because it is so clear. And I pulled it out, and I know you can't see it, but I can, and it is right at about 8 quarts, but it's super clear and just very clean oil. So I'm happy with that. We're gonna put this in and make sure everything's tight, and then we'll put the cowling back on, then we'll fire her up. All right, the next thing I'm gonna do is just screw the panel back in. I'll start with the top right-hand corner and put a screw in there, and then I'll work my way around. Alright, so I'm going to have Neil come over and fuel us up. If you've stuck around this far in the video, I appreciate it, and if you wouldn't mind smashing that like button so we can help grow this channel and get this content out to everyone. I'm a pretty young guy, so I'm still learning all the tricks of the trade, so if you learned something from this video, I'd appreciate it if you liked it. Subscribe. I post videos like this, all kinds of helicopter content that you may find interesting. In the next clip, you're going to see me actually start up the helicopter. The first thing I'm looking for is oil pressure. I want to make sure that we do have immediate oil pressure, and then I'll monitor the other gauges like oil temperature and cylinder head temperature, make sure we have no anomalies. And after I check and make sure the helicopter is good, I put it away. The last thing we do is put a sticker inside the engine logbook stating that we did this work, we added the oil, we changed the filter, and we added AvBlend. I just put my signature on there and I sign it off. If you guys like this video, once again, like it, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Take care.